coming to get you, Barbara.
Here's some money. Go see a Star War.
But I'm trying, Ringo. I'm trying real hard to be the shepherd.
Welcome back to Long Walk Talks. My name is David. I'm the owner and creative director of Long Walk Productions, and I am joined today, as always, by my two co-hosts, Stan Wilson Lee.
Hello.
And Chris Wilson Barnes, who did not want to do the intro yet again on this episode.
If you're going to sell me out, I'm going to sell you out. It's a good thing you didn't take notes when you told me you almost fell asleep during the movie.
I didn't almost fall asleep. I just kind of tuned out in the middle of it. I came back into the end.
That's better, sure.
No, Mystery Science Theater, I straight up fought sleep the entire time.
Boy, I'm really glad to hear the things I like bring you nothing but meh.
That's not true. Well, let's tell them what we're talking about before we start arguing off the bat.
Wow.
We're not even arguing about the movie.
I guess you guys are me from last week, huh? Or last time.
All right. Well, we are going to be...
I'll keep bringing that up. That's wonderful.
Yeah. We are going to be continuing our Perfect Tens discussion with the second of Chris's picks, Wreck-It Ralph. Chris, do you want to tell us a little bit about Wreck-It Ralph and your love for it?
I'd like to hear what you remember.
What I remember?
Yes.
Okay. I watched it last night. Wreck is a video. Wreck. Jesus Christ.
No, I've got it.
I'm just going to call him Wreck from now on.
No, please
Hey,
don't.
buddy.
We're on a first name basis.
Wreck
That's not
Wilson
as
Barnes.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Wilson Barnes.
I'm going to go stand outside for 50 minutes.
And just let me and Stan.
Sure.
All right.
We'd have a good time with it.
Go ahead, Chris.
Would anyone else? All right. So I'll give a basic rundown, and you guys can chime in wherever you want. Wait, check that.
You probably shouldn't let us do that.
No, but the basic idea of the movie is Wreck-It Ralph is a video game, is an arcade game from 1982 that's owned by a man named Mr. Litwack in his arcade. Kind of like still one of the last few freestanding arcades, and it and all the games in the arcade are all the characters in it are basically sentient. When everyone leaves for the day, they leave their games and they go into the. I like this idea. The surge protector area, which is their hub world,
Yes.
where they all interact with each other. And Ralph in his game is the villain. He's the bad guy because Fix-It Felix Jr. is the hero. And at this point, after about 30 years of the game, he's tired of not getting any recognition or respect. So he sets out to change that.
Okay. Very nice. Very succinct. What is our first topic of discussion?
All right. Did you like it?
I did. I enjoyed it. This is the second time I saw it.
I have to preface it. I love this movie, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked to you ad infinitum about this, about how when it first came out, I wouldn't have gone seeking it out and everything, and but once I did watch it, and we were talking about how this was released in 2012, and I know I didn't see it.
You got to keep bringing that up, don't you?
Because it's like, and I had a brain stoppage because I'm like, I know I've seen it with Amanda, so it's like I didn't see it for it had to been right before the first time I saw Wreck-It Ralph would have to be right before the sequel came out. So
okay.
I had and you had praised what was going on in the sequel, and you talked about how good the first one was, and Amanda loves it. So I ended up watching Wreck-It Ralph, and it turned into one of my favorite movies. And you, along with Detective Pikachu, gave me the steel box versions of the Blu-rays. So it's like, so I own it, and so it's like, it is one of my favorite films, and I will always appreciate you being part of the turn on for it for me. So So yes, I love it. And I think it's Sarah Silverman's best performance ever and best work ever.
Aside from her 5-minute cameo at the beginning of Way of the Gun, yes, I completely agree.
Okay.
I think you're also leaving out Ollie and Andy from Bob's Burgers.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Sarah Silverman and her sister.
Nice.
So
yes, this one, we're all in agreement, unlike last time. We all enjoyed the movie.
good to hear.
And I probably love it more than you. I don't know.
It's been a month and you're still bitter about
I'll
Mystery
never
Science
forgive you,
Theater.
sons of bitches. Yeah. So I just wanted to, so what did you like lines, moments, scenes, and just in general, what did you like about it?
So Dan, you want to take this one first?
Sure. I'm going to, right off the bat, the script is super smart, especially if you're a video gamer or gamer in general, and especially if you've been connected to like the arcade, stand-up arcade games and stuff and back in the day games. And because there's so much mentions of like the asteroids and the Q*berts and all that stuff. So right off the bat, the script and the references to classic gaming is brilliant. And then the performances, the voice performances are just great. John C. Reilly is brilliant as Wreck-It Ralph.
John C. Reilly has a great voice for the earnest but kind of slow on the uptake guy.
Yes, the forlorn. It's like, why don't people like me better? And then, but what actually draws me completely into the movie, besides Wreck-It Ralph, Fix-It Felix and the soldier lady,
Calhoun.
Yeah, Sergeant Calhoun.
Sergeant Calhoun. The relationship that is developed between and I can never remember Sarah Silverman's
Vanellope.
Vanellope
Von Schweetz.
Vanellope von Schweetz's and Wreck-It Ralph's relationship.
Yeah,
that
they
is
have a great
developed.
dynamic in the movie.
And that continues in the sequel, in Ralph Wrecks the Internet, and so that relationship is just key to so much of the movie, and so everything that happens is resultant from that relationship, and I love that the most.
I enjoy it because it's just a fun time to sit down and enjoy, just
sure.
to take in.
It really is.
It has plenty of sincerity and also like a lot of that heartfelt kind of storytelling that you've come to expect, while not taking itself too seriously.
Yeah, no, they expertly kind of sprinkle in a lot of hijinks in the middle of it, and that's because the director of the film is Rich Moore, who did a lot of work on Futurama.
It is one of the least Disney of the Disney animated films.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
if I didn't remember, oh yeah, this is a Disney production. I would have seen it more as like the Zootopia, the folks that make Zootopias and stuff like that. You know, or definitely not Pixar, which is Disney, but the idea that it's the least Disney of the Disney animated stuff. For me,
it's definitely the only one in which Kano rips out a zombie's heart.
yeah.
So automatically, it's got that going for it.
Oh, I did love Zombie. That is one of my favorite moments. Is the circle talks.
The Badanon.
Yeah,
well,
Badanon.
yeah.
It's great.
It definitely made me miss playing House of the Dead as well. Because just what a fucking ridiculous arcade game that was.
Before we get into like the headier themes of the movie, I like I said, I like the idea of the hub world where all the game characters meet up in like the Surge Protector. And seeing all the characters was great because they made for every cameo they got in the movie, any of them that were speaking were the actual voice actors for the characters.
I didn't know that.
That's the actual voice of Sonic. That's the actual is like all of them that were there is their actual voice actors.
Because I said that's a good Q*bert impersonation. Whoever's doing it.
No, I think Q*bert is just noises.
It's just noise.
He is just noises. I don't think he's ever actually spoken.
Excuse me, he is speaking Q*bertese.
Q*bertese, and Jack Fix-It Felix knows Q*bertese. It's great.
Yeah, so write that down in your notes, Chris.
I'll write it in yours.
Okay.
In your nose? That's what you said. Write it down in your nose, Chris.
Yeah, Dave, I think that's what you said.
Yes, it was.
Sometimes I hate the fact that I'm so far away from you now. Like back in the old office, I could have just reached across the desk and smacked you, and now I'm a full 15 feet away from you. Anyway, Chris,
you just need a nice array of things to throw at him.
I have threatened to get Nerf guns before. Go ahead, Chris.
Hold on, this is a very, very out of the way aside. But did you see that Nerf introduced a mascot?
You shut the fuck up.
No, he is made out of Nerf darts.
Is it a Nerf cop?
His name is Murph. He is terrifying to behold.
Chris, keep talking. Vamp
Okay.
while I look up this monstrosity.
I am, because the thing I wanted to talk about with the hub world thing is do you think that the personalities that they have are particular to that hub world, or that those game characters have the same kind of personality across the board? Because they interact with each other, and they all have the off the clock personalities. But do you think they're the same, like if from arcade to arcade or machine to machine, like outside of Litwax, is it different? Because they're not connected to the internet in any way, so they don't communicate.
Is that sort of answered in Ralph Wrecks the Internet?
No.
That it goes out, or is it contained within the same thing too?
No, it's yeah.
But I don't know. I would assume that it depends on how sentient the other game versions were, but I guess if they all came from the same thing, that if they have a hub world, it would be similar. But it would be like multi-dimensions. It'd be like the other verse.
The multiverse of Wreck-It Ralph.
The multiverse.
First of all, I just want to say that Murph Nerf is fucking terrifying, and
I didn't see it.
I will show it to you after the podcast. He is hilarifying.
He's like Gritty.
Oh my god. So basically, is the question if in another part of the world somebody were playing a Wreck-It Ralph
In a different arcade or a
game,
different place where there's arcade cabinets and they congregate, are they? Do you think they're the same?
I think this raises the question of raises the basic hypothesis of the movie to an existential crisis nightmare kind of mode, because this is not one of those concepts you want to think about too deeply.
Probably not.
Because it depends. Because the whole milieu depends on Ralph deciding to get the medal, right? So it depends on if other
He wants to bring back a medal to prove he can be just as good of a hero.
just as good as a hero. So it's like I guess it depends on if the other areas, games, versions of Wreck-It Ralph has the same, like Dave was saying, with the same existential crisis.
Because now we're getting into multiverse of madness
Right.
territory.
Oh, yeah. No,
is there a
that's-
version of Ralph that got tired of being a villain and murdered the other people in the apartment
well,
building?
he wouldn't do that because that would end up with his game being put on.
Right.
He would have to go turbo.
Yeah. Well, is there an alternate reality?
Where he actually does go turbo.
Yeah.
Or is there one where he likes his job?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why it's like he's content in being in the garbage dump of bricks.
I mean, it's the same sort of hypothesis of in Toy Story, is it just Andy's toys that have those personalities, or do other children who own the Woody and Buzz dolls, do they have the exact same personality when that child leaves the room?
Weirdly enough, it's kind of answered, because at least with with a new toy, they don't know. Like it's like in the first Toy Story, Buzz doesn't know he's not a toy.
Oh, right.
So they do kind of, and also in I think the second one they encounter that display of multiple Buzzes,
Yeah.
and they all come out of the packaging fresh and blank slate. They think they're the actual character.
See, again, existential crisis mode. I went down this rabbit hole thinking about the way Calhoun's backstory was programmed, and I was
You mean her
what?
tragic backstory?
Yeah, I was like, what kind of monster would program a backstory like that for a video game character that serves no purpose?
In an arcade, yeah.
Yeah,
it's an arcade.
it's a rails shooter, a light rails shooter. And then I started thinking, What if all of us are just living on our own light rail shooter and God has programmed our own tragic backstories?
Oh no, you've gone down the world as a simulation rabbit
Yes,
hole.
exactly.
What? I lost it. There was something I was going to bring up, but
You're welcome.
Because
No.
there has to be and like in this version, because of Ralph's existential crisis, Calhoun and Felix meet. Is that going to happen in every?
Oh no.
No,
because there's no guarantee all those games are
Hero
the same.
Duty.
Hero's Duty.
Hero's Duty. That's my favorite joke of the whole movie. And yes, of course. It's like the other worlds, the other places Ralph would have to go over or have to do something to get. No, he'd have to go to Hero's Duty, right? He would have to go to Hero's Duty to get the medal. And so it's like how many?
This particular Ralph decides to do that. There's,
Right.
I mean, there's all sorts of different permutations of what could happen.
And
anyway.
that it's like so. I guess initially for the game itself, they would have the same personalities, but after hours, it would be the.
I should point out as another different aside, Mr. Litwack is one of the best arcade owners I've ever seen. In that, by all accounts, that's from like most of those arcade machines are originals from when he purchased them. For instance, the Ralph machine is 30 years old in that game, in that movie. Excuse me.
Very well maintained.
Yeah. Well, so that was fun. But jumping into the other topics, I typed out, this was like actually one of the last notes I put in, but it just kind of struck me. Ralph kind of exemplifies his role in the game and how he feels about his lot in life. Is he kind of exemplifies the phrase, nobody cares about what I do until I don't do it. Mm-hmm. Because what kicks off the plot is, Ralph has yet another day where in the game, he Fix-It Felix defeats him. He's thrown off the roof into the mud. He's beaten, and then he goes to the dump where he lives, and sleeps, and he talks about how he's like it's like just every other night for him, and then he reveals in Badanon that what got him upset this particular night was they had the big 30th anniversary party for their game, and no one invited him. And it's like you really start to sympathize with Ralph. It's like he's a major part of how this game works and what it's about, and no one appreciates that about him.
Well, yeah, because everyone, again, we can get super deep with this one if we wanted to, but all the other characters are already pre-programmed to not like him.
Right.
So if they live conceivably their entire day the way that we all live our work days, and they're have been taught he's the bad guy, why would they invite him to a party? Now we're getting into the notion of like preconceived stereotypes that we all have.
And that's partially there because when they show Ralph walking around the hub world area, they make a point of showing that a lot of the characters who aren't bad guys spot a bad guy and shy away from them immediately. And also, but it's also important to note that it's like when the arcade closes, it's absolutely like the Flintstones quitting time, where they drop they can drop the routine and be relaxed, but it's important to point out that the Nicelanders, as they're called, still decide to just not like him.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure that has something to do with the way their building that they live in is programmed to fall apart whenever Ralph tries to walk around in it.
They live with a guy with a magic hammer who can fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, the thing is, like, they can choose. It's like they know his role as part of the game is to cause the trouble. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's an interesting idea because it's a weird mix of, and actually it'll lead into the next topics, which were my main topics, which is part of it is it's like you can choose. You can choose. You don't have to fall into these roles. And I think the movie goes a long way in talking about that, especially in Badanon. I think Badanon is one of the really nice things is it shows all the bad guys being like, I said the main point of Badanon is accepting yourself, and you are not your job. And it's exemplified in the what is it? There's a word for it. The what they say at the end. There's a word for that kind of, like not credo, but affirmation, I think it is, which is, I am bad and that is good. I will never be good and that is not bad. There's no one I'd rather be than me. And before Ralph can really internalize that, he gets mad about the party, and he sets off on his journey. But that's one of the reasons I love the movie, is like the entire thing circles back around to, you can choose to be what you are.
Yeah. And it also, that has a lot to do, I think, with self-awareness that these characters display all to a certain degree. And I think, it's a matter of how much how much self-awareness they are out, actively looking for, because we don't really see, like, where does Sonic go at the end when he goes home. But, like, the Nicelanders, they go back to their nice apartment building where they each have very nice apartments. They don't really seem to consider the fact that Ralph lives in a dumpster, or used to live under a tree stump where their apartment building now sits.
Right. They just live out the premise of the game without thinking about it.
Without stepping outside of their own boundaries. Staniel?
Yes.
Great contribution.
No,
Thank you,
I mean,
No, that's fair.
I mean, and that discovery that, even though he ends up finding contentment, and I had to go back though to, because that's why I like Fix It Felix so much, is because he has to be the hero and do the hero things with the people in the building and stuff, but he still has an inkling of where Ralph is coming from. And so he has no trouble once he did leave, and we really are nothing without him. So when he sets on the journey, he's willing to go find Ralph, because he knows that without Ralph, the game is done. So the idea that Felix has made the choice to be at least personable, and he has the whole discussion of why he can't come in and stuff, and it's like, but then he says, come on in. Get your cake.
Yeah, I think at the beginning, it's like, as you point out, it's more like he's trying to keep the peace.
Right.
And because he's the hero. And then when he sets out at first, it's because, well, if he doesn't come back, our game is screwed. And then over the course of the movie, it becomes, he realizes what Ralph really contributes. And
which led into another one of my favorite moments when Ralph breaks into the Fungin.
Yes.
And immediately when Felix recognizes, he like jumps into his arms.
No, wait, I'm mad at you.
No, wait, I'm mad at you, and jumps back out and has that whole insolent moment. That is literally one of my favorite moments in that whole movie, because it just shows how much Felix does need him and does actually care for him deeply.
Yeah.
I like what you said about, Chris, about no one cares about what I do until I don't do it, because I think that this movie has so many deeper, nothing is surface level, so I can't really say deeper meanings, because it's all text.
It'll strike a chord.
Yeah. And this is why, the fact that best animated film is still its own separate category at most awards shows, instead of like animated features being featured, no pun intended, among like best picture contenders, and why people still look down upon animation as an art form is baffling in this day and age. Like I've told both of you before, animation as a personal preference is not something that I myself will usually seek out, but it is still very much its own poignant art form, and you can look at the things that we're discussing and see that.
Oh yeah, Guillermo del Toro recently said something like that about that.
Yeah.
He said it's not a genre, it is art, it is film.
Yeah, and this has that point about doing your job has never been more exemplified than the last 2 years. As people online love to point out, so many boomers said, well, if you don't like your job and how much you're getting paid, just go somewhere else. And then they all go and go somewhere else. And now everyone's like, well, now there's no one working at this restaurant. There's nobody waiting tables. No one cares about what you do until you stop doing it.
Yeah, that's part of the reason it really hit home with me. It's just I really sympathize with Ralph. Even though like throughout the movie he very much in a very selfish way is the cause of most of the problems that happen.
Yeah.
Because he they point that out in the movie. And they're very good about pointing out about this character. It's like you wanted this thing so bad that you were willing to wreck all of these different things and your own game to just show up and just say, haha, I got this medal.
He is the cause of and solution to the movie's
Oh, absolutely.
conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it leads into the second point, the big one I had, which was there's nothing, this movie points out, there's nothing wrong with wanting to better yourself. It just becomes bad or selfish when it's at others' expense, which is the central idea of going turbo, as they explain in the movie. And I thought the reveal was very well done because it caught me by surprise when I first saw the movie. And then now in subsequent viewings, I always see, oh, there's how they carefully, they made it apparent that if you're paying attention, what happened.
Yeah.
Because Turbo was the main character racer of a game called Turbo Time, who was super popular. But then a new game came in, he got upset, jumped into the other game, and ruined both his game and the other one, and people just think Turbo was gone after that, but no, he secretly hopped into different games until he took one over completely, which happens to be one of the games that Ralph ends up in for most of the time.
And speaking of multiverses, he was able to, this version of Turbo was able to find a way into the code of this world that he jumps into and
rerun it through himself.
Rerun it through himself and erase memory code from characters in the game and everything, and so he could be the king. It's like I thought that was a really crafty.
And once again, we are leaning into some existential horror because is every Turbo like by design going to do this?
Probably not. I mean, it would probably is an isolated incident.
But is it?
Is it?
Well, the thing is, there are probably other arcades where they had a different name for it based on whichever character decided to do it first.
Yeah, that's true.
But I like the fact that the first time you hear of it, it's M. Bison leaning in the Battleon meeting. Like, you're not going turbo, are you, Ralph? But that's the main thing I like about the movie is just this idea that it's important for you to want better for yourself if you think you're not getting it, but it's it's equally important to do it in a way that doesn't wreck the lives of everyone around you.
Yeah, self-awareness.
Yeah,
like I said earlier, is a big part of a person's journey. This movie's fucking deep, y'all.
I think so.
I said that jokingly, but yeah, like I said earlier,
I mean, very much the Futurama attitude of how it delivers the moral and the message shines through in all the interactions and the way things go down.
Mm-hmm. Can we talk about Felix's magic hammer and how much I want some?
Absolutely, yeah.
I think one of my favorite moments in the movie is when he tries to break the bars on his cell window and makes them stronger.
I laugh
he
so
works
loud.
one loose, and he's like, "What?" And he's like, "I'll do like Ralph does," and then he just automatically takes his hammer and hits it, and the bars go 3 times. Why do I have to fix everything?
Yeah, a beautiful inversion of the whole character flaw of I ruin everything I touch. Felix literally fixes everything that he touches.
Right after he's done the whole. Keep hitting me.
Oh, that scene is funny, but also really kind of weird because they realize the Laffy Taffy loves it when he gets hit. So Calhoun has to hit him
and
repeatedly.
He keeps hitting himself with the hammer.
Yeah, and Felix 100% awakened something in himself.
Clearly.
What's his you're one dynamite?
Oh yeah, that's the trigger
Dynamite
for
gal.
her tragic backstory. You're one dynamite gal.
So is Felix the reincarnation of her dead fiance?
No, because they're from different games. That's silly. He's probably older than her dead fiance character.
Yeah, but is he?
But
yes.
is he?
Is he an
So much
alternate
buts.
universe version of her dead fiance.
Right.
No, they're in the
reprogram.
same arcade.
What are they?
No, this is dumb. What do we do?
I don't know, man.
It's directly evolved from your question earlier, Chris.
No, but in a bad way.
You sent us down this rabbit hole. This is all your fault.
I think it's almost worse when you agree with me.
I do like how I
Do you
like,
remember what happened the last time Stan and I didn't agree with you?
Yeah, depression set in.
I do like how they differentiated between Hero's Duty being the brand new game, and
Yes.
so they're not used to the fact that they can go into the power strip and be in the hub and everything. Like that.
Yeah, they kind of keep to themselves.
They don't Calhoun doesn't immediately get the whole why we're on this mission in the first place. All she wants to do is get the bugs, get the Cybug and everything, and
Well, she's also focused because she explains that the Cybugs, as part of the game, aren't sentient like the characters are. They are she basically calls them a programmed virus because they're designed to replicate and destroy.
exactly, and I like how they're. I think it's Ralph, or it might be Ralph, or it might be Fix It, but where they say, "You've only been in this place 3 weeks. You don't know how things are." So,
Oh, yeah, I get that.
somebody, and they haven't been in that. They haven't gone through into that part in the hub where the one, I don't even know what the code police guy who
He's the surge protector.
the surge protector
He's literally the surge
has
protector.
to ask every new person, and so he always attacks
He's
Ralph.
he's like customs, yeah.
Yeah. Great moment, and the whole thing that Calhoun has to learn about that herself
Mm-hmm.
as well, and then she never believes that she actually falls for
Oh yeah.
Felixs, and it's just lovely.
It is. I'm sure that it is because it takes her a while to accept the fact that Felixs is the reincarnation of her dead fiance.
Oh my God. Write fan fiction on your own time.
What makes you think I haven't? I unfortunately did learn, thanks to TV tropes, that apparently this movie has inspired tomes of Wreck-It Ralph fan fiction.
Oh, I'm certain.
Which is upsetting to think about, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
No offense out there to fan fiction writers. I'm sure that there's a lot of really good stuff out there. I'm sure that there's also a lot
Oh
of,
yeah, yours is the good one. Don't worry.
I'm sure that there's also a lot of really disturbing Rule 34 Wreck-It Ralph fan fiction out there.
There absolutely is.
But I
Rule
shouldn't
34?
stereotype because
No,
stereotypes are...
we're not explaining that
we're
on this
not-
podcast.
You can Google it. Yeah,
Okay.
Go ahead, pull out your phone, Google Rule 34 while we're...
Oh God. No, don't say anything.
Do I just do Rule 34?
Oh, God.
Will it know what I'm
Don't
talking
ruin this for me. We were so close.
about? I could read this on air.
Please do not.
Yeah, no, just this is for your own benefit. I just want you to figure out what this is without us having to explain it to you.
Benefit.
Yes.
Ben Affleck.
Oh God.
No, but I mean, there is a lesson in there. Just like we shouldn't assume
Of
that.
course there is.
Just like we shouldn't assume that Ralph is the bad guy just because he plays that role. There's something fan fiction.
My Little
God,
Pony.
God bless you for
Pokemon.
trying to. No, stop reading things out loud.
Nobody's going to know what I'm talking
Flip over to the image tab.
Well, do not do that. Not in our presence.
about. Yep.
So anyway.
I know what that rule is.
You invented that rule.
I'm kind of did.
He exemplifies it.
Oh,
What makes this a perfect 10 for me, at least, is the fact that I just, through the lens of video games, which is something that helps, at least for me, focus in on it. A lot of the themes, much like Wall-E, which was in contention for a while to be part of this series, I just identified very much with Ralph and his struggles, and just the idea, and Vanellope's, because Vanellope has her own arc inside her game of just wanting to
Wanting more.
wanting more, and just wanting to actually be recognized as a contender. Now, they don't always have to be the winner, but they need to be
Right.
thought of as worthy.
and for her, it was a sincere feeling in her bones and heart that she was more than she's being more than a glitch. It's like, and then we find out that she is more than what people thought she was.
Literally so.
I will say yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It hinges on the fact that Ralph sees the side of the game and sees her that she's one of the prime characters. Also, Bones.
Well, because she says she feels it in her bones, that she is a racer, and that and that's because
Her programmed bones.
Okay.
program bone. No, what did I say? Or in her code, she feels it in her code.
She does. You said bones.
I did say bones, but
She feels it in her fingers. She feels it in her code.
I'm going to throw this at you.
Well, love is all around us.
Do not sully this podcast with love, actually. That's right. I think it's a bad thing.
Is there an alternate version of Vanellope that's,
Probably functions properly because they didn't have a turbo.
Exactly. So does she have the same existential crisis as our Vanellope?
No, she might have. That was the thing I was thinking about when I asked that question, Dave. Which is like there's probably other versions of Vanellope out there that are the super princessy types because their code wasn't messed
And
with.
all the other racers love her and stuff, which
Right.
takes this group 90 minutes before.
That is one of my favorite parts at the end when she's revealed as the princess of the game, and she says, "Everyone who made fun of me will be executed."
You're gonna kill us?
And
she
honestly-
couldn't stop crying.
And honestly, has anyone who's ever been bullied not thought of themselves being like president or something and being
yeah.
and now all of you,
No pardon.
Joe from 8th grade who threw something at my head.
Dead. You are dead.
Straight to the gallows with you. Fuck you specifically. All right, well, thus far, this has been one of our shorter episodes so far. Chris, is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we wrap it up and take it home?
I will say if you continue on to watch the sequel, I think it's good in its own right, and it covers different themes, but it is absolutely not going to be like the first one. So you have to temper expectations. I hate to sound cliche. Sequel's not as good as the original, but it is good in its own right. And it wasn't what I expected, but it was good.
Gotcha. I got to say, I honestly am. I was shocked that Wall-E did not make it onto one of your 4 picks.
It was high on the list.
Because as far as animated films go, I think that one would be my number 1. Spoiler alert, I can tell you right now, there's no animated films on my top 10, or on my top 4 perfect 10s.
There is not. I've seen it.
Yeah. Well, what have we got coming up next for you? What's your next perfect 10 film?
Well,
did you not have another question about what's his face?
No, that was a comment. Gene's a dick.
Okay. Gene's
Even when he's laying it out for Ralph at the end, Gene is still a dick and is in no way trying to offer any sort of sympathy for Ralph's plight.
Yeah, because Gene is a digital 1%er.
Kind of.
True that.
Yeah. And
They have to kind of gloss over him at the end. It's like, oh, everyone came around. It's like even Gene is like, yeah, well, there's none of that on screen. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, racist against poor people, Gene.
He kind of is. Well, springtime for Stan is over. The summer of Chris continues before we head into the winter of Dave's content.
Did you, was that just like off the top of your head, or have you been holding on to that one?
I got that one about an hour ago.
Okay, hang on to it. We're going to reference that again. I know I'm not going to remember it.
Oh, yeah. I was especially proud of the winter of Dave's content.
Yes, that was brilliant. Thank you.
But heading into next month, which is July, it's mine and Dave's birthday. So I thought I'd pick something special. You know, guys, I heard that someone from NORAD spotted Santa on the East Coast around 5 p.m. today.
You kidding me, Chris?
Are you doing Christmas Vacation? Is that what?
Yes, that's right, Stan. We are doing National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation for July.
Damn it, I fucked up the line.
No, you got it.
No. Wait,
No, it's...
You serious, Chris?
Yeah.
There we go.
But no, I mean, you got the spirit of it, because
Yeah.
I know I fucked up the line I did.
Yes, one of our favorite movies to watch, me and Chris and me and Katie, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I'm excited for this one and excited for Christmas in July.
Absolutely. And it's going to be a rundown of what makes that movie great. There's going to be no middle ground on that one.
Yes, Dan.
No. I mean,
I love Randy Quaid in it, but he's canceled.
It's a
isn't he?
shame his brains are scrambled.
Right?
I was about to say, I think you're the first person to ever say the words "I love Randy Quaid" in it about anything.
No, Randy Quaid was really good.
His stuff in the vacation films are great.
Well, not all of them, but
I mean, at least the first one and Christmas.
yeah, I mean,
So those two.
every
He's in 3, right? He's in
And
the second one,
Independence
right?
Day.
I love
that's
him in
not
Independence
that's not
Day
a vacation
too.
film.
I love him in Independence
but it's
Day.
a Randy Quaid
and I love
film.
him in
National Lampoon's
in Day
Intergalactic
After
Vacation.
Tomorrow, which somehow didn't make my list.
No, well, I'm saying Randy Quaid was actually a good actor
Oh, he's
before he
great.
went absolutely nuts.
He was a Quaid brother. I don't know what happened.
I mean, he
to him
still
either.
is.
Well, yeah. I don't know if the other ones talked to him much though.
But yeah, we're going to talk about Randy Quaid and more during Christmas.
But Chevy Chase also kind of went.
Yep, he'll be there
bonkers,
too.
No, here's the thing. That's my ultimate separating art from artist, because Chevy Chase is absolutely someone I don't want to think about, but I love Clark Griswold.
Yes.
Yeah, and unlike Randy Quaid, like he might have always been crazy, and we just found out about it in the last couple of years. Chevy Chase has always been a dick. If you go back and you read about like his 70s and 80s SNL antics and all of that. But not to sully the good name of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
We won't be talking about that. We'll be talking about how marvelous that movie is.
Vacation.
Are you proud of yourself?
I ain't
I
gonna
love it.
miss when I find my phone. All right. This has been something.
In general, it went a whole lot better than.
Once again, thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome. Stan, I know you're not on the socials, so I'm going to skip right over you. Chris, if people want to reach out to you online, stop that. Where can they find you at, Chris?
I'm on Twitter at Chris the OK.
All right.
Love Actually is shit.
I thought for sure you'd save that for the stinger. If you want to follow me personally online, the best place to do that is on Instagram at DB Hensley. If you would like to keep up with Long Walk Productions, you can visit us online at longwalk.us or search for Long Walk Productions and Long Walk Podcast on Facebook. To see more of our original work or hear past episodes that are no longer streaming, you can follow the YouTube links in the show notes. Thank you very much for listening, and if you enjoy this show or any of the shows on the Long Walk Podcast Network, please make sure to leave us a rating and a review on whatever platform you are listening on.
Peace out.
Man, poor Sour Bill, huh?